on Monday, May 10th. All right. Super excited to have you here. Thanks for joining me. And if you have a comment by all means, please put it in the chat box. I think I have figured out Facebook comments. So hopefully I can see that. And of course, if you're on LinkedIn, comment away. I'm always pulling those up. But today's topic is something near and dear to my heart because I have to continually play with it. So if you have ideas, I'm definitely open. It's the concept of deadlines, accountability, and getting stuff done. Especially when we're in a situation, for those of you in Ontario who are also on lockdown, where it just feels like the days can blend together and sometimes you're not really in the mood to do the work and maybe there isn't any huge urgency for you to actually get the work done. It can be harder to do, right? Like, who's with me on this? Greg is here. Good afternoon. Joining from the road, so I'm listening but not commenting today with a comment. So there we go. I love it. Awesome to have you here, Greg, and to have you listening. And Tibor, hello. I am doing great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about deadlines, accountability, and getting stuff done. Now, speaking of accountability and deadlines, on Friday, I said by Monday's lockdown at 3:15 p.m. Eastern, I would have the book done. Now you're probably thinking, Allison, I don't get it because you already have the book in your hand. It is done. Well, initially this was going to be an ebook, right? It was intended to introduce people to some of my concepts and just be a part of, my online brand marketing. Then I got into the book. We did that. I ended up getting a few printed, and I'm like, you know what? There's some good stuff in here. We should make this a book, a real book. And so I chose to beef it up, add in some actual chapters, add in some coaching questions, beef up a couple of the chapters that were there, and have chosen to actually launch it as a book. Well, I was, with everything going on in my life behind the scenes right now, I am, I just wasn't getting into the editing of the book. Editing is not my favorite part of the process. So I know that deadlines and accountability will help you get things done. So on Friday, back to the original story, I chose to say on air that by 3:15 on Monday, I would get this done. And I am so thrilled to tell you that the irony of Take Back Your Weekends when I spent my weekend finishing the book is not lost on me. But I tell you, it is done almost. So decided to add one extra chapter today at I think noon, and it's 3/4 written. And I have three, call it two, three coaching question sections. So I put coaching questions at the end of every chapter. Done. But here's the thing. There were times this weekend when I didn't want to edit, when I didn't want to do it. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I said by 3:15 on Monday, I'm going to get this done. And having that accountability, and I know nobody was like, sitting there waiting for me to have it done, let's be honest, but I knew that I needed to get it done. So deadlines can be really a great motivation, especially when somebody else is counting on you. I have often found that having deadlines that I have self-imposed, so I've decided I really need to get this done, I'm going to get it done by the end of the day, don't work. Because the truth of the matter is, I will just tell myself, well, that's a manufactured deadline. You don't need to get it done. And it just doesn't work. And this is part of, everybody ticks a little differently. And there are people who will make themselves a commitment, and no matter what, they are going to get it done for themselves. And I am what they call of the four tendencies. This is Gretchen Rubin's work if you want to go further into it. But I'm what they call an obliger. So And if you recognize this in yourself, then welcome to the club, because I think it's like 60 or 70% of the population are more obligers than they are people who there are the other tendencies. But essentially what it is that we will hold ourselves accountable to the degree at which we have expectations from others. So if we, like, here's the thing, if a client needs something, I will never let them down. I mean, I might, obviously, but because 14 years of business, I'm sure I've dropped the ball on a couple things, but it makes my heart sing to get it done on time for a client. If and maybe for you too, right? There are certain people we won't let down. So if you know that about yourself, then we can manufacture deadlines in order to create urgency and focus so we can actually get something done. And, this is different if you just have your normal mundane work. I'm talking about, not that your work's mundane, sorry. I have categories of work. I'm like, okay, this is the stuff that I don't like really get fired up about doing, but I need to do or outsource. And this is the stuff that I absolutely love doing, like the creative. But the truth is I have to sit down and get into it. And once I'm into it, I'm totally all set, ready to go. I remember with deadlines, they used to really bother me. And actually, I'm curious, so those of you who are watching, let me know, like, what's your relationship with deadlines? Like, do you love them? Do they make you tick? Do you run away from them? Like, are you like, does it stress you out? So I used to really struggle with them before I was a newspaper columnist, because my very first column ran, it was August 15th, 2003. So can you imagine how many years I have been writing professionally? It's a lot of years. That's why I type so fast. And I, like, as the few weeks leading up to it, I knew it was coming, but I didn't have to have a column in until like 3:00 the day before it ran. And of course, I was leading up to that. I was totally stressed for so many reasons. But one of the reasons I was really stressed was because of the deadline. Like, what if I don't get it in time, and, whatever. But as I went forward, and I ended up writing 4 columns a week, and my deadline was always 3:00 the day before. And one of the things that in the early days, I would start, like, I'd wake up in the morning, or I'd start the day before, and I'd get, like, spend my whole day working on this column. And then a couple times life got in the way. And I wasn't even able to start my column until like 2:00 in the afternoon. And lo and behold, I'd still get it in at 3:00. Like, I'd still make the deadline. And so I started to recognize, and this is, a lot of people who will recognize this, it's Parkinson's law. The length of time available for a job, a task, a project, whatever, I mean, there's very technical terms on this, is how long it will take you. And so the more time we allow ourselves to do a project, the more time it will take. I would start at 2:00, and lo and behold, every day I still got my column in at 3:00. The tough piece with deadlines is they backfire when we leave them too late. So a good backfire is a backfire that is very well considered. So it's going to take me, an hour of writing for this column. So I need to have all the information and everything sitting there waiting for me to do it. But here's the thing. If I started writing at 2:45 p.m., I was never going to get it in on time at 3:00. Like, the submission deadline wasn't possible. And then that would cause stress and disappointment and frustration. And so knowing those deadlines and our relationship to our deadlines is so critical. But if we overshoot them, if we undershoot them, I guess might be the right way, but if we underestimate how long it takes us to do a task and we leave it too late, it will backfire and cause stress. But if we think of them effectively, like, and we plot out, okay, this part of the project's going to take me 10 minutes, I suspect. This will take me 20. This will take me 5. This will take me, 45, and then we add that up and we go, okay, it's going to be done at 5 o'clock today, but I've got, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour to do it. I mean, obviously the math didn't work with what I was just rolling off with the tongue, but I'm going to give you that time. So the other piece, so we got to set our deadlines, and I am talking deadlines for everything. Like I will put them together like, oh, I've got to I don't know, sort this box. Okay, well, I'm going to sort this box by X, but I will move the deadline. So what I'll do is I have a bunch of friends who are like all in on this deadline playing game with me, and I'll text them and say, hey, listen, I've got to get this done. I'm going to get it done by this time. Can you check in on me? And, I have really wonderful friends who are like, absolutely, get it done. And by the way, I'll be working on this and you check in on me. And that accountability can be manufactured to help us be more accountable. And I find that this is really helpful during these days that can drag. The days that just feel like they keep going on and on and on and on. And yet we still have to get the work done. The good, wonderful work that we all have the privilege to do, provided you're still working or employed or have your business. This is it. This is our privilege to get to do it. And so every time we can set in little deadlines with some accountability, we can get even more productivity because it just hones our focus, doesn't it? So there we go. Now I am really excited about this week, just because we're starting it here with a live and on a topic that I love, and you're here. So thank you very much. And just kind of going through this week to see what happens and new opportunities. You never know what's around your corner. So keep that open mind and keep going and set those deadlines so that you're doing the right thing to get you through. So thank you for being here. Have the absolute best day. And I hope you harness the power of deadlines to get your productivity into high gear. If you're not feeling like you're in high gear while you're on lockdown, I hope this has been a lift up, because this is the lockdown lift up. Now, tomorrow I will see you at 3:15 Eastern. Have the best day.